Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also, tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast, we're glad you all could be with us as well. I love being able to share stories with you guys about individuals who've been able to follow their goals and dreams, and I have not one, but two guests that are doing just that, and they happen to be a married couple as well. We're excited to welcome to our program today Adit, Dileep, as well as Brinda, Dixit. We'll talk to them not only about their journey as actors, but also what it's been like for them to have each other as part of their support system, let you guys know what's coming up for them that they can share, and also how you can stay connected with their journey as well. Thanks for the two of you for the time. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Cyrus. We're excited.
Hey, glad to do it. So, Brinda, I'll start with you ladies first. I want to talk about this experience for you. What has it been like for you, Brinda, to be able to do what you love as an actor, and then, of course, to be able to share that experience with the rest of us?
Oh, my gosh. Great question to start off, Cyrus. Well, look, I feel so privileged to be able to get to pursue this dream. I think there are so many people out there in the world who are suffering and struggling, and what do we turn to? We turn to arts, we turn to books, movies, television shows. So I just feel so grateful that I get to be that face for people of comfort and support and solace. And I think that it's so magical to be able to be an actor and get to jump into all these stories and just give a little breath of fresh air to people. That's kind of what is the most special to me.
Yeah, I'd love that. And what about for you, Adit? What has it been like for you on this journey to be able to have that dual effect of doing something that you love, but also have people appreciate your work?
Yeah, it's so interesting because the reason I got into it was because when I was a kid and, anytime my parents and I fought, we'd just go into the movies and we'd drive to the movies and we'd watch movies, and that's how we dealt with our problems. And now, circling to today where I'm actually pursuing the career, I think one of the really fascinating things that Brinda and I have been finding is that, I got into it with certain ideas of what it's going to be like, what's acting going to be like, what are the kind of stories I'm going to tell. And then when you start to do it, you start to do so many different things that you never even imagined. And I'm starting to do roles where I wouldn't have never have told you that, hey, I'm going to sing on Broadway and do Broadway roles. And here I am auditioning for Broadway and learning music from Brinda because she's classically trained in singing, and I've never done that before. So there's all these insane things that happen, and it's just like a lesson in life where it's like you go after something. For me, it was something that I feared, but I also loved. And then you end up doing it, and you are open to so many more experiences than you ever would have imagined.
Adit, I'm going to stay with you for a second because I love that you mentioned that. And I noticed when I was prepping for this segment, I got a chance to watch part of your acting reel. So you've been able to bring different types of characters to life as well. Is it also what keeps it fun, that you're not always doing the same thing?
Yeah, I think I have a restlessness that's going to follow me my whole life. Always trying to push the envelope a little bit and just try to do a little bit of the unexpected. Because I've seen it in life, and I'm just translating all my experiences in life onto film where people see me and they have a certain expectation of a very stereotypical Indian guy, and then I open my mouth and, I'm starting to, give them a lot of things they didn't expect, and then they're like, whoa, I didn't know it could be like this. And I'm like, well, I am. That's how I've always been.
Right. Brinda, what about for you? Is that also part of the adventure for you? Because you yourself also, as Adit just mentioned, not only able to act, but also have a love of singing too. Is that kind of what keeps the business side of it interesting?
Oh, definitely. I think having a range of skills that keep you fresh and motivated to just keep on pursuing this career path is so exciting. And actually I'm biracial, so a lot of times people are kind of confused about what ethnicity I am, where I'm from. A lot of people have this guessing game of like, oh, I think you're Middle Eastern. Oh, I think you're Latina. Oh, wait, no, she's Indian. So I love surprising people, and I'm fluent in Spanish too and Hindi. So I think it's always great being an open book and shocking people with what I can do.
Yeah. Well, you both, I think, are a great example of the importance of not only following your passion, but also doing it your way. So, Brinda, I want to ask you, have you always been comfortable in your own skin? Is that something that's been an easy journey for you, or have you grown into that along your own life journey?
Oh, that's a good question. It's I think that's quite a layered question because I've always been confident saying that I'm an actress. Ever since I was a kid, I grew up doing children's theater. Like that was just something that my parents just saw that bug in me from 6 years old. And they were like, we have to nourish this in whatever way and means we have available to us, which was children's theater. However, I think as I started to audition for more high-profile film, TV, theater projects, you see the competition out there. You see the other girls out there, and that's where my sort of fearless, childlike self was challenged a little bit because you get that comparison. And with social media, there's the jealousy aspect. So I think that's then realizing that we are so much stronger in numbers, and our community is what makes us our biggest asset as actors. And leaning into that has made me then, regain that fearlessness that I had when I was little.
Oh, wow.
If I could add on to that, actually.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
There was, there's this interesting thing that Brinda and I have been talking about in our lives where it's like, so much of our lives as actors is like trying to find out what makes us different, what makes us unique. But then when you actually go into the work and you're preparing for an audition or preparing for sides, really the context is so different. It's much more of what do we have in common with everyone else in this scene. And it's such an interesting duality because, you think about, how can I align myself differently? But when we're doing the work, it's all about relating to other people. And for us, showing people a place where they could belong, and for us, that happens to be acting and showing a lot of roles. But for others, whether it's becoming an architect or a sound engineer, like those are stories that we want to tell so that people can see that there's so many paths to success and you can define it in your own way. And it's not always going to be easy to define it, but if you do, you can go after it so much more happily and, with fulfillment.
Yeah.
Love that. It's such a great reminder, I think, for all of us. I want to say for those who are just tuning in on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. You just heard there from Adit, Dileep. Also, we have joining us Brinda Dixit. They are two actors, but also they're a married acting couple as well. We're talking with them about their journey individually, what it's been like for them to do what they love. So now let's kind of talk about you guys as a couple. So, Brinda, for you, one of the things I'm always curious about, because as I've been hosting the show over the years, the journey of a creative can be a lonely process, right? Because you just got to, try to figure it out for yourself. How has it helped you to have someone who does understand that journey, also being married to that person?
Then the biggest blessing of my life. I think that having Adit by my side throughout the ups and downs and sideways that this business brings has really given me, honestly, the biggest acting lesson of my life. It's just how to constantly be positive throughout the journey. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that he's taught me. And it's also like I've taken a lot of lessons from him and his growth as an actor and applied it to myself too. So it's kind of a beautiful symbiosis that we have.
Yeah. Love that. Adit, what about for yourself? I mean, this journey can be a challenge, but how has it helped you to have someone literally by your side who does understand the journey and support that?
Yeah, and I'm glad you're phrasing the question as a positive because sometimes people are like, oh my God, two actors dating, and let alone married, that must be tough. And honestly, that hasn't really been the case for us. What is tough is, every time we book a trip or, vacation, we end up getting an audition around that time. So we're thankfully my partner in crime here is very understanding. And after jet lag, we'll have to set up a tripod and a self-tape in a hotel room. Those are the things that I'm so glad I don't have to worry about so much, because either of us will understand what the other person needs to do. And it's one of those rare tenets of a good couple where we have amazing communication, and also when you need to give the other person space to just let them discover their work, that's there. And I'll tell you one thing, was not as skilled at the technical side of setting up self-tape, but now she's like an absolute pro. I don't have to say anything. She's just like, I have an audition that I have to do in 2 hours. She's like, okay, I got the setup done for you. So it's like really beneficial, and I'm glad because it is, to touch on the loneliness, and I want to speak to the people listening who are going after this career. The truth is it is tough, and it is tough to find people who you relate to. But when you do find those people, you got to hang on to them and not be afraid to ask for help. And, I'm okay with embarrassing myself in front of Brinda, which I think helps me actually grow, as opposed to thinking that she's going to judge me or take any criticism that's nothing more than just looking out for my best interest, and I always know that. Even if in the moment it's tough to hear, I always know what it's really about. And we both want the best for each other.
Definitely.
Love that. I saw in an interview you all did recently, Brinda, you were sharing part of your story and when you guys initially met. So you all have been together, of course, through part of the challenging time that we all have faced the past few years. How did that help you, Brinda, to have someone there? Because your industry in particular was really impacted a lot by the pandemic and even the aftermath of that. How did that help, having someone kind of going through that with you?
Well, one really cool thing that we did that Adit had a brilliant idea when the world shut down. He said, you know what? I have this idea. Let's make a voiceover booth in our apartment. And I was like, what are you talking about? A voiceover booth? I was like, okay, I will, you know what? Like many of the awesome ideas that you have, I will just ride along with this one. And we did something where we literally, we made a soundproof studio in our apartment and sort of just created opportunities for ourselves, which was really cool. And it opened up so many opportunities that I never even expected. And because of this booth, I actually booked a little, indie video game called Grand Theft Auto. But I think I'm just, all this to be said, like, it was great having someone to bounce off of ideas when everything was low. We're like, how can we turn a negative into a positive? I think that was really kept my mental health in check.
What about for you, Adit? What helped you during that time, and how did having each other help you in that respect as well?
Yeah, it was one of those really weird times. Actually, we were separate for the beginning of the pandemic because Brinda was in LA, and I had my flight. I remember this so vividly. I had my flight on March 13th, 2020, to go to LA with my bags packed. And of course, none of that panned out. And it took us even almost 6 months to get back into the same state as each other.
Yeah.
Brinda went to her family's, I went to mine. And so that was like a little tough time because we were talking, but we also, all the plans that we had for the rest of the year were sort of in limbo. And that's kind of when, we started thinking of, okay, like, how can we keep ourselves active? We made a really fun show between ourselves remotely called TBQ, which is called The Big Q. And it was all about what to watch on streaming and kind of keeping ourselves afloat. We learned how to edit programs on a new platform on Mac, and we're filming this remotely and, finding ways to stay engaged. And I think those first 6 months were really tough because we were just scrambling to do whatever we could. But a year later, I'm glad that we did all those things because we didn't need to start from square one when things did pick back up again.
Love that. Which leads us then to the what's next. So I'll kick this off with you, Adit. What are you looking forward to as we're beginning a new year and thinking about the possibilities ahead?
Yeah, thankfully, new year, best me is what I like to say. It's like continued evolving, and one of the things that I'm really passionate about this year is trying to do more productions with Brinda and starting to tell these stories that we're experiencing. So, that's another thing we started in the pandemic. We started producing our own work, and we've kept it to the 2 to 3 minute length. So our next step is we're creating a short film that we're hoping to produce by mid-year, end year, and we're kind of working at it.
Exactly. I think also another really exciting thing that I'm looking forward to this year is just sort of the community, meeting people like you, Cyrus. I'm so excited. I have a great feeling that we're going to come across a lot of really cool creatives this year who will all benefit each other. I'm just looking forward to that.
I love that. Brinda, I want to stay with you for a second. What advice would you give based on your own experience and journey and lessons to other aspiring creatives that are out there, and maybe that are just starting their journey? What would you say to them about how to make the most of this year?
I would say do not be afraid to ask for what you want. When I think back to the best opportunities that I've ever had and the people who have so kindly forged me ahead on this path, it's because I was clear and concise and said, I need this, can you help me with this? And they did. Some of them didn't, but a lot of them did. So that's the biggest I would give, is just to not be afraid.
Love that. What about for you, Adit? What advice would you give to aspiring creatives out there who are looking to start going after their own goals and dreams this year?
Yeah, I think like, definitely make those goals, set them, and have a target in mind. But I think the thing that's helped me the most over the past few months, and especially with the way the world is and the way the economy is take that goal and try to make it fun. Like one of the tough things for me is social media, especially over the last 2 years. My relationship with it has changed. It has taken over more. And the thing that Brinda and I have found, which has been fun for us, is instead of seeing it as work, we've just kind of made it a creative bed for us. And I've been like having so much fun uploading that I haven't had in a long time. And I've just been trying to make it fun and creative. And that's what I challenge people to do. It's like, if something seems like it's a lot, break it into smaller steps and make it fun for yourself, because you might surprise yourself in what you could accomplish with that.
Mm-hmm.
Such great advice and such a great conversation. Thanks to the two of you for the time. Again, everyone, Adit Dileep has been our guest, as well as Brinda Dixit. We've been talking with them about their own acting journeys, but also what's been like to be on this journey together. So, Brinda, I'm going to throw it to you because Adit said this isn't his strong point here, so I'm going to let you help us out here. How can our audience stay connected with you guys?
Yes, well, you can find me on Instagram at Brinda Clixit. That's CLIXIT. And
for me, my Instagram is Adit These Days, ADIT These Days, all normal spelling.
Love it. Well, thanks to the two of you for the time. This was a lot of fun. Glad to have you on. And it goes without saying, since Brinda said to ask what you want, I'm going to ask you guys to come back later this year and catch us up on everything going on.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it.
We'd love that.
Can't wait.
Thanks for having us, Cyrus.
Also,
great conversation.
Thanks, Cyrus. We love your stuff.
More than welcome. Thank you. I definitely want to thank our friend Zach Tepperman at ZTPR for setting up this chat with us for today, and thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live, and let's go make today amazing. Take care.